cold is in my blood.
You found what?
Hi, friends. Shabbat Shalom and Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom and Good Shabbos.
It is I don't want to call it blustery because it's not windy, but it is definitely wet and chilly. So, what's another word for? It's not blustery. Blustery, you have to have wind. It has to be. This is just wet. Just wet.
Damp.
No, this is not damp. This is wet. This is
Yeah, but it's got that cold damp.
in German. It's called the Nasskalt, which means the wet cold.
Oh.
Time that gets in like I never get cold unless my feet get wet, and then I get cold, and then I get miserable. More so than I usually am if my feet get wet, and even in the summer if my feet get wet, I will get cold. So as long as my feet are dry, bring the cold on. But it's regardless of the weather, it is still Shabbat, and Shabbat has its own inherent beauty, regardless of where you are or what the weather is. And our friend Nick said that, this is, like London in the winter. And I said, yes, and like San Francisco in the summer. This Mark Twain famously said the coldest winter he ever spent was one summer in San Francisco. So who knows? But we are here for Shabbat. It's nice and toasty here in the building, and the people are fine. And so we're going to begin welcoming Shabbat with the lighting of the candles. And we have Melanie, who is celebrating a birthday this weekend. She's going to be 19. That makes her even creepier. Because he's not 19. I know how old he is.
Yeah.
Page 2 and 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, l'haylek ner shel Shabbat.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's continue. Let's have a responsive reading. Page 6. Page 6, near the second, in the second half of the page. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May welcome all who cares to learn, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be wisdom and law to the young.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May the synagogue be for all who enter, a doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
All right, let's jump ahead to page 20. Page 20, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamho v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor ha'bracha, Merosh mikedem nehesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Mikdah Hashmelech ir melucha, Kumi tzihi metoch hafecha, רב להקשבת בעמך והוא יחמול עלי חמלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התנער בי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדי תפארתי עמי על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי קורבה אל נפשי גאלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי היווה אורך קומי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נקלע לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקומי מה תשתוכחי מה תהמי בך יחסו עניי עמי ונבנתה עיר אל תילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה והיו לשמסה שעושייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כי ימסוס חתן על כלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תעריצי על יד איש בן פרצי בני שמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה וסהולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Let's turn to page 22, some verses from Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat. And let's read the outdented paragraph together. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together, you have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadik katahama yifra, ke'erez balhanot yiskeh, shetulim beveit Adonai, bechatrot Eloheinu yahafrichu. O genuvud b'seifa, b'shenim v'ra'ananim yihiyu lehagid, ki ashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabo. Page 24, let's welcome the angels who come to spend Shabbat with us. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashari, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitkhem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now we have welcome Shabbat, and the Shabbat Queen is with us. Let's turn to page 146 and get ready for Arvit L'Shabbat, the evening service for Shabbat. Page 146, please rise. Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Borach Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Let's read together on page 147. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. Second blessing, the second bracha before Shema. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha havta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbeinu ufkumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, li'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayinu v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem negeh yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavat tichal tasir mimenu li'olamim, baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol miodecha, v'hayu advarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al vadecha, b'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlektecha v'derech, ub'shoktecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'v'hisharecha, leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim leloichem. Ahani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem. Page 151, let's read responsively in the English. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
That oneness includes our grasp and imperfection and evil and harm.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break our heart. There is good enough to soul.
When will redemption come? Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
Celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nohora tehilo, osefele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, okeyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amru, Adonai himloch, Leolam vaed, v'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ga'alo miyad chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai, ga'al Yisrael. Top two lines on page 153. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Let's read together at the bottom of the page. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, Aporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Amo Yisrael, V'al Yerushalayim. Top 154 verses from the book of Exodus, from the book of Shemot. V'shamru. V'shamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat. La'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam. Please rise for the Amidah. Pages 155 through 157 we'll chant together, and then you can continue silently through the end, reading either the Hebrew or the English. But we'll begin together, page 155. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot Imahot, Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Abraham, V'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayim Metim Atarav Lahoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayim Metim Berachamim Rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevorot, umidam melach, Melech memit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata l'chayot metim Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh ha'metim. Let's continue on page 160, reading together in the middle of the page. May these hours of rest and renewal Open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Page 163 at the top. Let's read responsively. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For our life and harmony and unity tomorrow, our praise is towards thee.
We'll close out with the evening song for peace at the end of the Amidah. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Liolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Liolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom rahav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom rahav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom rahav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom rahav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Page 253 in the middle, the prayer known as Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha Li'imoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imoteinu Mikor HaBracha La'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Pages 258 and 259, prayers of our community. Mr. President, how about the prayer for our congregation?
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levatcha b'yirah na'avod. Nancy, how about the prayer for our country?
The
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness.
Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Uvayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avin. Oh, now Nick's in the back. How about the prayer for Israel?
אבינו שבשמיים צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו. הגן עליך ולברת חסדיך, ופרוס עליך סוכות שלומך. ושלח אורך ואמירך לראשיה, שריה ויהיו עציה, ותקנם בעצת טובה מפניך. ונתת שלום בארץ, ושמחת עולם ליושבך ולומר אמן.
Amen. And Amy, how about the English?
O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there.
Amen. Thank you all. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom and good Shabbat.
This week's Parsha is Va'era, and it opens up with God speaking to Moshe and reminds Moshe of the ongoing relationship between God and Bnei Yisrael. Right, the relationship that began with Abraham many, many generations ago and continues up until this moment for us. And God once again promises to Moshe that God will in fact give us and deliver us to the land. In fact, God makes 5 promises to Moshe, 4 of which are represented, well, actually all 5 are represented by cups at the Seder table, but only 4 of the cups are drunk. God says, Hotzeti, I will free you. God says, Hiltzalti, I will deliver you. God says, Ga'alti, I will redeem you. And Lakachti, I will take you. Right? I will free you from slavery. I will deliver you from the house of bondage. I will redeem you from Mitzrayim. I will take you to be my treasured people. Those are the 4 cups of Passover. But there's a 5th promise. Heveti, I will bring you into the land. And when the Seder was created, the Seder that we have, not necessarily the biblical Seder, but the Seder that we have, we were in exile. And that 5th cup, Heveti, seemed a bit cruel to say, oh, God will bring us to the land while we had just been exiled by Rome. And so the rabbis put that cup aside and said, well, we're not sure if we should drink it. We're not sure if we shouldn't drink it. So the argument ends up in what the Talmud calls a teku, an argument that has no resolution. And they say, when Elijah the prophet comes, he'll tell us whether we should drink it or not. So we'll set it out, but we won't drink it. But those are the 5 promises God makes. And God says to Moshe, it's time now for us to free Bnei Yisrael. They've been waiting long enough. They've been crying out long enough. So go to Pharaoh and tell him to let them depart. Now, Moshe is nobody's fool. He was born in the day, but he was not born yesterday. And he responds twice to God. One is that Pharaoh won't listen. We understand that Pharaoh is a tough guy, or fancies himself a tough guy. And Moshe also says, I'm not the right guy. I don't speak well publicly. In fact, I'm aral sifatayim. I have literally uncircumcised lips, which many commentators, past and present, Moses has a speech impediment. Moses stutters. I go back to what I said last week. Moses, having grown up with the house of Pharaoh, did not speak the language of the children of Israel very well. He didn't speak Hebrew, all that, whatever the Hebrew was at the time. And God says, don't worry. I'm going to send Aharon with you. Your big brother will accompany you, and he'll speak for you if you can't get your point across to the children of Israel. God warns Moses, though. God says, I'm sending you. You're my guy. You're going. God warns Moshe that Pharaoh won't easily give in. Pharaoh's not going to roll over and take this. And plus, God says, I'm going to have to harden Pharaoh's heart. So not only is he going to be naturally difficult, but I'm going to squeeze him a little bit and make him very uncomfortable and harden his heart. So Moshe and Aharon go and they approach Pharaoh. And, they had a couple of parlor tricks, right? Aharon throws his staff on the ground. It turns into a snake. The magicians of Egypt are able to do the same thing. But then Aharon's staff comes snake, swallows all the other snakes. And Pharaoh's heart is indeed hardened. Moshe and Aharon turn the Nile into blood, and Pharaoh's magicians respond in kind. 7 days later, frogs descend out, or not descend, but come out of the Nile, and the magicians respond. They bring even more frogs out of the Nile. So I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that one was. But Pharaoh says at the end, listen, if you could get rid of all these frogs, B'nai Yisrael can go free. So Moshe gets rid of the frogs, and Pharaoh says, fooled you, just kidding, they're going to stay. Then we have the lice come after the frogs, and the magicians of Egypt cannot copy this. They cannot imitate it. And Pharaoh once again hardens his heart. Insects, death of the livestock, boils, hail, all plagues come and affect not only Pharaoh and the livestock, but also the people of Egypt. Pharaoh promises to let the people go, and then at the last minute suddenly changes his mind. Moses finally has enough and realizes that he's got to play hardball a little bit, and he says, let my people go, or it's going to get worse. It's going to get so worse that you're going to have no choice. And this is only the beginning of the sufferings laid upon the Egyptians as Pharaoh decides whether or not he's going to release the children of Israel. And that's our Torah portion in a nutshell. There's a phrase that we hear often. We've heard it a lot since a little over 90 days ago, that Kol Yisrael Eravim Zeh B'Zeh. All Israel is responsible for one another. And we hear that a lot. We hear that, anytime there's a big social action problem or there's an issue in Israel, people go out and they say, all Jews are responsible for each other. And it comes to us from a tractate in the Talmud, comes out of a tractate that deals with vows. When you swear or promise to do something. Shvuot, page 39 in the Talmud. But the rabbis, at this point in that whatever discussion they're having about vows, or oaths, they take a tangent to discuss the idea of communal responsibility. How are we responsible to and for each other? And the context they put it in, although they don't use this language, but the idea is the domino effect of sin. Now, wherever you are theologically and you don't like the word sin, and it's not one of my favorite words, and it's too loaded with Christian context when we talk about sin, but it's the idea of bad behavior. Right? The rabbis felt it was an obligation on every Jew to make sure other Jews didn't stumble and commit sins or behave badly by not following Jewish law. Now, I know, in every congregation, I know in every community, there are people who think Jewish law is about as interesting or as important as the worm digging through the backyard, right? Because we, like I said many weeks ago, many of us have a 13-year-old's understanding of what Jewish law is. Jewish law isn't no work on Shabbat, have to keep kosher, all of that. Well, yes, actually it is, but there's something more important that goes on in Jewish law that most people, because they get so tied up in not observing the ritual law, because that's all they think is important, all the stuff about interpersonal relationships falls to the side, right? With the absence of the temple, most of our religious obligations are irrelevant. We no longer have to travel to Jerusalem 3 times a year to offer sacrifices. We no longer have to make sure we are ritually pure so that we can go and offer sacrifices. We don't have a temple to maintain. We don't have a Kohen Gadol. We don't have an army of Kohanim running the temple. But what we do have are the mitzvot bein adam l'chavero. Because there are 2 types of commandments. Bein adam l'makom, the ones between us and God, mostly known as the ritual or religious ones. And then another section of bein adam l'chavero, the interpersonal relationships, and how we can build a strong and unified community, even if half the community doesn't care about the ritual law. They should still care about the interpersonal law. And this is what the rabbis of the Talmud were worried about. It's not that, Hoyt's going to go out and eat high treif, what can I do? Bologna with American cheese on Wonder Bread with mayonnaise. Is that disgusting enough for a Jew? Right? Now, bacon cheeseburgers, Jews eat those like they're going out of style. I'm trying to figure out something that is so disgusting that you wouldn't even want to think about it. He's not going to do that. And if he does, that's on him. And chances are nobody's going to follow him because it's just a horrible, horrible meal. But when people misbehave, when people gossip, when people work behind other people to make them look bad or embarrass them in public, that's the problem that the rabbis are talking about. That's the sin of hurting other people around you. Now, we're all guilty of it. We all have things that flip us out and make us upset. But the idea is that we should learn how to control those impulses and be able to work with other people to help them control theirs. It's not sin in the sense of God is angry. It's sin in that you're wearing away the fabric of the community. And so the rabbis say, if we allow people to ignore minor transgressions, it wasn't really gossip, everybody knows it's true, and if you were here, I would have said it in front of his face. Yeah, that's still not good when it comes to interpersonal relationships. And so what they're afraid of is if you let the little ones go by, people are going to see that, and then they are going to start behaving that way. And then it's going to get bigger, and people are going to say, well, there's no punishment, there's no tokacha for when you embarrass somebody, or when you steal something, or when you speak Lashon Hara or Motzei Shem Ra. There's no penalty. The community doesn't care. They're just interested in challah, rugelach, and hamantashen, right? Because Jewish law doesn't mean anything. Because after all, we're modern Jews. We don't fear God that way anymore. And that is what the rabbis were terrified of in the Talmud. And so this idea of the interpersonal relationships was very important to the rabbis and should be important to us, because that's really what it means to be a Jew, how we treat each other. And so built into the Bible is this idea of what's called tochacha, which means rebuke, but not in that heavy-handed sense it's more correction of one's behavior, right? If you see somebody doing something wrong, as a Jew, it's incumbent upon you to take them to the side and say, hey, maybe that's not the right way to behave. And I know people have no problem doing that to me. I mean, as a rabbi, that happens all the time. And that's fine, right? Sometimes it's deserved, other times it's not. But I don't see it happening within communities. I don't see community members going up to somebody who's acting like a fool and saying, hey, maybe just calm down a little bit. Instead, everybody looks around. Well, maybe somebody else will do it. And then other people start behaving that way. And the community goes from being, hey, this is a great community, to a community where people are saying, yeah, it seems like a nice community, but I hear what people say about each other, and I'm not sure this community is for me. Okay, right? You build the kind of community that you want to have. And if that's a community that you want, build it. If it's not the community you want, that's why we have the laws Bein Adam L'Chavero, the laws for Tochacha. And even when you're going to talk to somebody about behavior or want to correct your own behavior, you don't, you let the person know they're doing something wrong, but you don't embarrass them and you don't pile on. Not only, Rabbi, did I see you eating the DiGiorno pizza that didn't have a hechsher, you ate white bread and you kicked the dog once. That's not true. That's not true. At least I don't think it was. But the idea is you don't want to pile on because you want people to learn. Often, tochacha, often the idea of corrective behavior is only seen in terms of morality, but it's also social, right? The idea of taking care of other Jews also means that those people, the Jews, have to have and make sure that every other Jew in their community has their basic needs met. The basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter must be met. And if you say, well, Rabbi, our community is a special community, and there's nobody in our Jewish community like that, well, that's fine. So the rabbis will say, then go out into the non-Jewish community and help out. Because ultimately, we wind up being responsible for everyone. We also have to ensure that the elderly, the disabled, the poor are taken care of and have the resources they need. And this idea of all Israel is responsible for one another also means that we need to work together to inspire each other to build a Jewish community that is warm and welcoming to all Jews, regardless of gender, orientation, color, observance level, ability, knowledge, right? If you want to have a warm and welcoming community, you have to make sure that that's what's seen and that's what's presented. Now, all communities are, it's like all families, according to, was it Tolstoy? All families are miserable in their own way or unhappy, right? All communities have their foibles, but the really strong ones work with them. Work to overcome the foibles, work to overcome the difficulties. And to build such a community, we must be willing to set standards for behavior. We need to show respect. We need to show concern. We need to show all sorts of things because, as the rabbis say, all Israel, all Jews are responsible one for the other. And we all have to act. We all have to take action to inspire others to do the same. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos.
All right. Well, I don't have Maury here, and I don't have Sam here, but I remember it's Kiddush time. So let's have a little Kiddush. Kiddush for Friday night.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Wait, where did I leave it? I had it here. There it is. Please rise. Vahi erev, vahi boker, yom hashishi. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam. Vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa. Vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa. Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi. Vayikadesh oto. Hivo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asod. Savri.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzot im tchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Kihu yom techila lamikrei kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim. Kivanu bacharta viotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. I'll tell you how warm it is up here. That was ice cold when I poured it less than an hour ago, and now it tastes the temperature of bath water. That's how warm it is up here. So, but let's start to close out our services. Page 282, Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, la'tei kedula li'otzeh breshit. Shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama. Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam. V'anachnu korim, mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, mochei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim v'Yosei Haaretz, u'Moshe v'Yikaru b'Shamayim Imal, u'Shlinatu zo, v'Govhei Meromim, u'Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato, Kakatu b'Torato, v'yadata hayom v'hashevota, elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim mimal, v'yal haaretz, mitachat einod. Kakatu b'tortecha Adonai imloch v'olam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. Here, be seated. This week we observe the following yard sites. Harry Cutler, husband of Sophie, father of Ray, Anne, and Jack. Henrietta Gottlieb, Jack's aunt. Roger Gross, Barbara's husband, father of Ronnie, Larry, Danny, and Susan. Harry Ann Bihar, Tori Witcher's father. Leo Buckholtz, related to Anita Buckholtz. Minnie Bloom Glick, David Glick's grandmother. Edith Gross, Dave's wife, parents, David and Edith, parents of Roger, and Edith's sister was Mickey Goldenberg. Lil Kleinberg, B. Geringer's aunt. Blanche Engel Smith, mother of Bernard Smith. Fanny Angel Finkelstein, Mimi Tan's mother. Patricia Poland Neal, daughter of Charles G. Poland and Mabel. Bernice Herman, Jack's wife, mother of Ira and Nancy. Robert Tarbett, father of Pat Hyman, grandfather of Derek. Sanford Barnett Hyman, son of Rochelle and Mike. Esther Lachman Michelson, wife of Lewis and mother of Shirley Michelson Bro Davis. Leo Schoenfeld, Ike's brother, uncle to Tony and is father of Jane. Morris Supovitz, Lynn Mayer's uncle. Alfreda Edelson Fantel, sister Evelyn Weil. Janice Ambergy, Judy Lundy's sister-in-law. Samuel Glazer, husband of Rose, father of Herman, Norman, and Simon. Minnie Mendel, Ruth Shradsky's mother. Albert Reich, Pauline's husband. Marjorie Sampson, daughter of Sammy and Molly. Alan Armster, Gloria Armster Mazo's father. Leonard Krasnow, Dr. Michael Krasnow's father. Max Levy, relative of Bob. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us all, and may they always rest in peace. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 294. Yit Gadol, Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach, Hirute, Yamlik Malchute, B'chayechon, V'yomechon, U'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, V'zman Kariv, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabban Borach Leolam L'Mei Maya Yit Barach Vish Tabach V'yit Par V'yit Ramam V'yit Naseh V'yit Hadar V'yit Alev V'yit Halal Shmei D'Kucha B'richu Le'elam Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbachata V'Nechamata Da'amiram Be'alma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya B'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated, friends. Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos. All right, we do have two people here who are celebrating birthdays in January. We have Melanie and we have Nancy in the back. They weren't here last Friday. I'm not going to ask why. It's none of my business. But
COVID.
they missed birthday and anniversary Shabbat, and they missed getting their candy bar. And so, well, you get the candy bar, you miss the blessing. It's one or the other. But we do wish them a happy birthday. Melanie's is tomorrow, and yours is at the end of the month.
Yes, the 29th.
The 29th.
Thank you.
But a special birthday blessing for both of you. See, you have to be present. You know, it's like if you're going to win, I forget what lottery it was, but you had to be present to win. But happy birthdays in advance, and enjoy the Hershey bar. And note, they are full-size Hershey bars, not Hershey bars provided by anybody else but the rabbi, because he gives you the whole bar, not the little ones, the whole bar. All right, Mr. President, you want to have some announcements?
Real quickly. All right.
Oy.
Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos.
Tomorrow we have our service at 10,
Yep.
and then we've got our service at 9 on Sunday, and then we've got a study with the rabbi on Sunday at 1
1 and 2.
1 and 2, And then we come back to the week. We have Wednesday at 6, we've got the
Seven.
It's 7.
Seven. And it's not on. It's not on Zoom this week.
It's
It's.
not on Zoom.
I believe it's at Joan Weisberg's.
At Joan
residence.
Weisberg's, and she, you know where she lives. Everyone knows where Joan lives, right? We don't toilet paper her house on Halloween, but we know where she is.
No.
Okay, so and that'll be at 6 p.m. on
7 p.m.
7 p.m. on Wednesday.
Chime hasn't changed in the 20 seconds it has
I know,
transpired.
but my short-term memory is burned out in '89. It's 7 p.m. Few updates. We have our raffle tickets on sale now, and those of us on the board have them. I know Mark and Nancy have them. Judy, Marilyn, and I have tickets. Nick, we all have tickets to sell. I will be buying a few, but if you would like a chance at the raffle, there are great prizes. The tickets are, I believe, are $100 without 125.
With insurance.
Okay, they went up. Good for us. 125 without insurance, 150 with insurance. You want to buy them with
Grand
insurance.
prize is $7,500.
All right, $7,500. That is more than in years past. And
It's already sold.
it's already sold. I hope you get it.
We already have a winner.
I'm going to be over there with my T-shirt and beer to celebrate. Tomorrow we also have the Cleveland Browns. They are playing in the playoffs. So I want to remind you of that.
The Steelers are playing on Sunday.
They are, and I hope they win because
So do I.
very good.
Good. I hope the
And,
Browns lose though.
So yeah, so we've got the raffle will be on April 3rd. Then we've got the Jewish Cultural April 14th. You know, I really did a lot of damage in college, a lot, but I was fortunately not too bad that I couldn't have trouble.
Melanie, can you help them?
She's probably wants to hide
She's
now.
helped enough.
She's helped enough.
She's helped.
The Jewish Cultural Festival, I do know, is on May 19th, and some updates. We are working to get some acts down here. There's been a lot of interest from real Jewish musicians in New York. Toby's been up there, and we're going to coordinate that. I'm going to start working with people to get the food together. I'll be working with Marilyn and the Sisterhood. If you want to help, hit me up, talk to me. I'll be happy to assign you to do something, okay? That's all I have, and I think I'm done.
All right.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. What time's Yiddish choir?
That's 7.
Good. All right.
So, that's all right.
What day?
It's Wednesday. Wednesday.
What day is
Where
today?
is it?
What day is today?
Good job.
Okay,
Oh, right. Oh, there you go. He's got it.
he's a fast learner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
A week from this Sunday, we're going to have our Tu B'Shvat Seder. It's one of 4 New Years celebrated in the Jewish community. Everybody knows Rosh Hashanah. That's one of the big ones. But the first of Nisan is also a new year. And then we have Tu B'Shvat, the 15th of the month of Shvat, which is the new year for trees. So every tree gets a year older on Tu B'Shvat. And then on the 1st of Elul, it's the new year for animals. And so that's a whole lesson there. But the Seder is brought to us by the mystics from the holy city of Tzfat and thereabouts. Tu B'Shvat for many years was just, a calendar date, and nobody really paid much of attention to it. Even in the traditional world, nobody paid much attention to it until the time of the mystics in Tzfat, where they felt that it was a great day to celebrate a lot of things. And so I have last year Susan Miller provided the food. Again, this year Susan Miller is going to provide the food, and we're going to have a Seder, and it's going to be wonderful, and it's open to all. And that will be at 1:30, not this Sunday, because it's not yet Tu B'Shvat, but next Sunday. And next Sunday isn't Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat happens on Thursday of that week, but it's very difficult to get Jews out after sundown. I think they're afraid of vampires. But it's on during the week, it's very difficult to have things if you want kids and people. So we're doing it on Sunday afternoon. So it'll be a lot of fun. And if you've never been to a Tu B'Shvat Seder, please attend. There is good food and yummy food. And 4 cups of grape juice. 4 cups of grape juice. Who doesn't want to have 4 cups of grape juice? You want 4 cups of wine? 4 cups of bourbon, perhaps? Bourbon, there we go. All right, we'll see if we can find a bourbon Seder for Tu B'Shvat.
What's the date for the Tu B'Shvat time?
1:30 next Sunday. A week from Sunday, 1:30. 13:30 if you're watching military time. be there or, miss out on a good time. All right, let's close out with, why am I at Ein Kelohenu? Adon Olam, page 321. Adon Olam Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Lignasa B'chefsa Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei Kiklot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nohora, V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yeh B'tifara, V'hu Echad V'ein Sheni, L'ham Shilo L'hat Bihira, B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'os V'ham Yisra, V'hu Eli V'chai Goali, V'tzur Hebli B'yehitzara, V'hu Nisi Umanosli, Menat Kohosi B'yomekra, B'yahadu Avkid Ruchi, B'yetishan B'yahayira, V'im Ruchi Geviati, Adonai li v'lo yira. I can't resist. I have to give you to your bracha because it's just not fair. I'm not in charge of the brachas. God is in charge of the brachot. So, and I don't want to be on God's bad side. So, Mishaberach Avoteinu Abraham Yitzhak V'Yaakov Serivka Rachel V'Leah Hu Yivarech Et Kulam Sha'alu Hayom Likvod HaTorah Likvod HaShabbat Ulehodot Al Kol Hasadim Asher Gamal Lehem Elohim Yom Hilvadu Ad Hayom Hazeh V'Kadosh Baruch Hu Yishmor Otam V'Kol Mishpachtam V'Yishlach Bracha V'Haslacha B'Chol Ma'aseh Yadehem Im Kol Yisrael Acheim V'Nomar Amen. May God who bless our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Melanie and Nancy, who are here with reverence for God and respect for Torah and Shabbat, grateful to God for the gift of life which they have enjoyed until this day. May the Kadosh Baruch Hu continue to bless them with length of years, good health, and the pleasures of Torah study, and the profound satisfaction that comes from a life of Masim Tovim, a life of good deeds. In celebrating this and other birthdays, may their examples remind us that people may count the days of their life, but a person of wisdom makes every day count. Let us all say, Amen. There you go. See? Well, I think so. Healthier. All right. We have people saying, talking to us. David Johnson says, good Shabbat. Catholic Mom, Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbi's mom and Cliff from cold and windy Pennsylvania. They have the bluster. Wishing all a peaceful weekend and a great week ahead. Thank you, Mom and Cliff. Taylor McIntyre, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Taylor. Bella Robinson, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. And Donna Wilson, Shabbat Shalom to all. Also to you, Donna. Hope all is well. All right, friends. Lots going on. Stay warm and stay dry. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. And please be careful out there. Mm-hmm.